I, Robot, One Man Saw It Coming, Isaac Asimov. The mining station was a black circle on the map, and the right dotted lines that were tunnel stretched about it in spiderweb fashion. Donovan studied the list of symbols at the bottom of the map. Look, he said, the small black dots are opening to the surface, and there's one maybe 3 miles away from the selenium pool. There's a number here. You'd think they'd write larger. 13A. If the robots know their way around here. Pavel shot the question and received the dull "Yes, master" in reply. Can your insert shoot? He said with satisfaction. It was the first time either had won the insert shoot, which marked one time more than either had expected to upon their arrival the day before, and they tested their limb movement uncomfortably. The insert shoot was far bulkier and far uglier than the regulation spacesuit, but installed considerably lighter due to the fact they were entirely non-metallic in composition. Composed of heat-resistant plastic and chemically treated cork layer, and equipped with a desiccating unit to keep the air bone dry. The insert shoot could withstand the full glare of Mercury's sun for 20 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes more as well, without actually killing the occupant. And still the robot's hands formed the stuff, nor did they betray the slightest atom of surprise at the low-tech figure into which Powell had been converted. Powell's radio harshened voice boomed out. Are you ready to take us to exit 13A? Yes, master. Good, thought Powell. They might lack radio control, but at least they were fitted for the radio reception. Bound one or the other mic, he said to Donovan. He placed a foot in the improvised startup and swung upward. He found the seat comfortable. There was the humped back of the robot, evidently shaped for the purpose, a shallow groove along each shoulder for the size, and two elongated ears, whose purpose now seemed obvious. Powell seized the air ears and twisted the head. His mouth turned ponderously. Lead one backed up, but he did not feel at all light-hearted. The giant robot moved slowly, with mechanical precision, through the doorway that cleared their heads by a scant foot, so that the two men had to duck hurriedly along a narrow corridor in which their unhurried footsteps boomed monotonously and into the airlock. The long airless tunnel that stretched to a pinpoint before them brought in forcefully to Powell the exact magnitude of the task accomplished by the first expedition. With their crude robot and their start from scratch necessity, they might have been a failure, but their failure was a good deal better than the usual run of the system's successes. The robots plodded onward with a pace that never varied, with footsteps that never lengthened. Powell said, "Notice that these tunnels are blazing in light, and that the temperature is Earth's normal. It's probably been like this all the 10 years that this place has remained empty. How's that? Cheap energy. Cheapest in the system, sun power, and on Mercury's sun side, sun power is something. That's why the station was built in the sunlight rather than in the shadow of a mountain. It's really a huge energy converter. The heat is turned into electricity, light, and mechanical work, and what have you. So the energy is supplied and the station is cooled in a simultaneous process. Look, said Donovan, this is all very educational, but would you mind changing the subject? It so happens that this conversation of energy that you talk about is carried on by the photocell banks mainly, and that is a tender subject with me at the moment. Powell grunted vaguely, and when Donovan broke the resulting silence, it was to change the subject completely. Listen, Greg, what's the devil's wrong with speed anyway? I can't understand it. It's not easy to shrug a shoulder in an institute, but Powell tried. I don't know, Mike. You know, it's perfectly adapted to a Mercurian environment. Heat doesn't mean anything to him, and he's built for the right gravity and the broken ground. He's foolproof, or at least he should be. Silence fell. This time, silence lasted. Master, said the robot, we are here. Huh? Powell snapped out the semi-droid. Well, get us out of here, out to the surface. They found themselves in a tiny subtraction, empty, airless ruin. Donovan had inspected a jagged hole in the upper reaches of one of the walls by the light of his packet flash. Meteorite, do you suppose? He has asked. Powell struggled. To tell you that it doesn't matter. Let's get out. The towering cliff to a black basaltic rock cut off the sunlight, and the deep night shadow of nearless walls around them. Before them, the shadow reached out and ended in knife-edge abruptness into an all but unbearable blaze of white light that glittered from myriad crystals along a rocky ground. Space, gasped Donovan. It looks like snow. And it did. Powell's eyes swept the jagged glitter of Mercury to the horizon and winched to the gorgeous brilliance. This must be an unusual area, he said. The general albedo of Mercury is low and most of the soil is gray pumice. Something like the moon, you know. Beautiful, isn't it? He was thankful for the light filter in their busy plate. Beautiful or not, a look at the sunlight through the straight glass would have blinded them inside the hell for a minute. Donovan was looking at the spring thermometer of his wrist. Holy smokes, the temperature is 80 centigrade. Powell checked his own and said, a little high. Atmosphere, you know. On Mercury. Are you not? Mercury isn't really airless, explained Powell in absent-minded fashion. He was adjusting the binocular attachment to his wristplate, and the bloated fingers of the insert were clumsy at it. There is a thin acceleration that clings to each surface, faithful of the more volatile elements and compounds that are heavy enough for Mercurian gravity to retain. You know, selenium, iodine, mercury, gallium, potassium, bismuth, volatile oxide. The vapors shift into the shadows and condense, giving off heat. It's sort of a giant steel. In fact, if you use your flash, will probably find the side of the cliff is covered with, say, sulfur or maybe quicksilver dew. It doesn't matter though, our chute can stand measly 80 indefinitely. Powell had adjusted the binocular attachment so that he seemed eye-stalked as a snail. Donovan watched tensely. See anything? The other did not answer immediately, and when he did, his voice was anxious and softly. There was a dark spot on the horizon that might be the Selenium Pool. It's in the right place, but I don't see Speedy. Powell clambered aboard in an instinctive striving for better view, till he was standing in unsteady fashion upon his robot's shoulders, legs straddled wide, eyes straining. He said, I think, yes, it's definitely here. He's coming this way. Donovan followed the pointing finger. He had no binocular, but there was a tiny moving dot, black against the blazing brilliance of the crystalline ground. I see him, he yelled. Let's get going. Powell's head hopped down into the sitting position on a robot again, and his shooted hand slapped against the Gregorian barrel chest. Get along. Get going. Giddy up. Giddy up, yelled Donovan, and thumped his heel, spur fashion. The robots started up, the regular thudding of their footsteps silent in the airlessness, but the metallic fabric of the insert chute did not transmit sound. There was only a rhythmic vibration just below the border of the actual hearing. Faster, yelled Donovan. The rhythm did not change. No use, cried Powell in reply. These chunk hips are only geared to one speed. Do you think they are equipped with selective plexo? They had burst through the shadow, and the sunlight came down a white-hot wash and poured wickedly about them. Donovan ducked involuntarily. Oh, is it imagination, or do I feel it? We'll feel more presently, was the grim reply. Keep your eye on Speedy. Robot SPD-13 was near enough to be seen in detail now. His gracefully streamlined body threw out blazing highlight as he roped with easy speed across the broken ground. His name was derived from his serial initial, of course, but it was apt, nevertheless, for the SPD models were among the fastest robot turned out by the United States Robot and Mechanical Man Corporation. Hey, Speed! Howled Donovan, and waved a frantic hand. Speedy! Shouted Powell. Come here! The distance between the man and the errant robot was being cut down momentarily, more by the efforts of speed than the slow floating of the 50-year-old antique mount of Donovan and Powell. They were close enough now to notice that Speedy's gait included a funicular rolling stagger, a noticeable side-to-side lurch, and then the Powell waved his hand again and sent maximum juice into his compact headset radio sender. In preparation and another shout, Speedy looked up and saw them.